right, welcome to the, dang, I wish somebody would have told me that, virtual summit, Sara, Drury. It is so awesome to have you be a part of this.
I am so excited. And I don't know how many times I've said, I wish somebody would have told me that. So this is amazing and wonderful. And I'm so happy to be here.
I love it. So, okay, I want you to tell people a little bit about you, your zone of genius, and kind of I call it the zag, like when everybody else is zigging, how you're zagging, because I think it's super unique and interesting and fun and mystical and magical and all the things. So please tell the viewer a little bit about you.
Yeah. So I am what I like to call a high performance hypnotist
Mhm.
and a business coach, but I like to always weave in the magical side of life. And so there's kind of like three components to what I do. And I know we'll get into it a little bit more, but that it's a lot about really the inner and the outer. So I like to call it kind of practical magic because there's practical elements in business that we gotta have into place. But sometimes I think we leave out the energetic and magical side of life. And to me, that's a miss. So I like to incorporate all of it and weave it together in kind of like a unique way. So yeah.
I love it. And how did you come up with this whole idea? So as you started in your entrepreneurial career, like how did you so is it something that came to you right away, or did you kind of migrate into this new way where you're magical and you talk about magic and all that? How did you find that sweet spot?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, one of the things I think about business is that I mean, maybe there's some unicorns out there that like just discover their perfect formula and then they're off to the races. But for me, no, it was very much a process of kind of combining things that I loved and that I wanted to talk about with looking at what people were missing, like looking at the marketplace and saying, like, where can I fit in and be a little bit different, but also bring my unique set of interests, which are a bit woo and different, but also my skill set. And so at first, I was really just talking more about kind of like the mystical, magical, and we can even call it manifestation side of things. But I'm obsessed with business. And to me, I really only want to work with people who are also feel like they have some kind of like mission or calling in the world. And so to me, that was like that sweet spot for me that I again came to over time to say, well, I love talking about this, but I really love talking about it in the context of mission and business and really putting your kind of big work out into the world.
I love it. I agree. Couldn't agree with you more on that. And to that point, in your opinion, what's the number one struggle you see for either entrepreneurs already in motion or maybe aspiring entrepreneurs where they're looking to get their business off the ground?
To me, the number one thing I think holds people back on either side of that is really thinking that they don't know enough and that they're always like needing a little bit more information or a little bit more training or a little bit more this or that. And it's like, no, just like hit the ground running, you will figure it out. So to me, the biggest struggle I see people go through is thinking that they don't have the answer, thinking they don't know enough. And then it just stops them dead in their tracks.
So can I just say I had a really good exchange with a client of mine who said, "Oh my God, I'm so glad I did this because I'm learning so much from it." And she is such a great student, so to speak. And so she does all the homework and all the things. And I said, right, it's because you took the action. Like you can't move a parked car. And so just by taking that action and having it be imperfect, and I'm sure that you help people with that whole thing of like, can I do it? Procrastination. I have to get it just right and all the things that you hear. So can you just talk a little bit about that, about how important it is to address those types of things in order to put yourself into action?
Yeah, I think that it's almost the biggest thing that you have to address to get into action, because part of business is really like fumbling, at least in the beginning for sure, but even down the road, it's really about like fumbling your way to success. But again, especially in the beginning, I feel like if you could just let yourself make mistakes and fail and fall on your face, it's just what you said about that conversation that you were having with that person who's like, but I'm learning so much from it.
Yes.
And I think that if you can just allow yourself to take that imperfect action and just let yourself fail, like you're gonna be bad at it probably in the beginning. You're like, just accept that when you're starting anything new, like you're gonna suck at it.
I
Just
know.
right.
Right.
And I think that's the thing, like that's the little linchpin that if you can just say to yourself, I'm probably going to suck. I'm going to put this piece of content out there. Nobody's going to comment on it. And that's kind of okay with me for right now. And I'm going to learn and I'm going to grow and I'm going to keep doing it, get a little scrappy with it. Then you're going to watch it unfold before your eyes. But it's when you stop yourself and say, well, I don't know enough, so I can't do that. Or what if nobody comments? Or what if this? Just stop all that and just go do it and suck at it for a while. And
Ah,
that's
the stories we tell ourselves.
yeah.
If we just understood that it's just a matter of putting it out there. Like I say, just ship it. Just ship it.
Yes.
Stop overthinking it and just ship it.
I quote you sometimes, like in my program, like, do you know Patty? Just ship it, okay?
Yeah, like literally it's the one thing that in groups and stuff, and I'm just like, just ship it. Stop, stop. Because there's always gonna be a yeah, but reason, and just stop with the buts. I'm like, eliminate the but. It's like eradicate the but. Stop it. So yes, agree wholeheartedly. Okay, so we are now to the most priceless information around the 3 tips that you have, the 3, damn, wish somebody would have told me that tips. I have my piece of paper and pen and I'm ready for you to drop the gold. What is number 1?
Okay, number 1 that I wish somebody would have told me, and that once I did understand and learn, it really helped me get out of my own way, is that the subconscious mind it plays the biggest role in what you are capable of doing and what you are capable of receiving, especially when it comes to money and business. And so, business and putting yourself out into the world, again, in a bigger way, which is what business requires, it brings up a lot of, we'll just use the little t trauma for now, but it could be big T as well. But it brings up our insecurities. And the subconscious plays such a role in all of that, that once you kind of understand how to work with the subconscious, you really start to unblock yourself in all these areas. And going back to our just previous conversation, allow yourself to make mistakes, allow yourself to not have to get it all perfect all the time. But it also, we sort of have these, as these internal settings of what we're allowing ourselves to receive. And so, it's really fascinating to me because it really happens at every level. It happens at the beginner level, and then you grow and you kind of cap yourself out again, especially financially, at another level. And then you got to do some work again. And you're constantly, if you can work with the subconscious to sort of, I like to say, expand the energetic container, then you're going to be able to receive more in terms of clients, in terms of income, in terms of just not even just that, but like overall life enjoyment and fulfillment. Like I like to say, yes, we have a cap on what we can, receive in terms of income, but we also have one on what we're able to receive in terms of just like happiness. There's a happiness cap that every single one of us has. And the subconscious allows us to go in and play with that a little bit.
Love it. And really, when people understand the limitlessness of the potential of once you clear your stuff at the subconscious level, how powerful it can be. So I love that. That is such an important tip. Okay, what about tip number 2?
Tip number 2 is really about keeping your North Star in mind. So the reason that I wish somebody would have told me this is because I think, especially in the beginning, but even down the road a little bit, there's this very human thing that we do where we get caught up in the details. We get caught up in how everything's going to work and how everything's going to unfold and how the business is going to grow. And that's important. Again, we got to have the strategy. We got to have all those little detail things in order, but not at the expense of really keeping in focus, in real clear focus, what our sort of North Star is. And what I mean by North Star is, what do you really want your life to look like? Not just what do I want my business to look like, but what do I want my life to look like? What do I want my life to feel like? What are the experiences I want to have? Because those are going to be so compelling to you, more so than getting bogged down in the details. So if you can just, I'm going to bring in tarot for a second. Is that okay?
Are you?
All right.
I love tarot. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
One of my favorite tarot cards, I feel like, explains this perfectly, and it's the Hermit card. And so in the Hermit card, it's this sort of hermity person holding up a lantern, and in the lantern is a star, and it's dark outside. You can tell, from that imagery, and he's holding a lantern with a star in it, which means he can only see one step in front of him. And so that's all you really need to see at all on your journey to becoming whatever business you want to become. What type of business owner you want to become? Just the next step. That's all you need to know or see. And keeping in mind that bigger vision, that North Star of what you want your life to look and feel like. And if you do those two things, you will be floored. That's why I say the magic kind of happens, because you're going to be surprised by how much the universe is going to reorder things in the background for you if you're just focusing on the next step with a kind of like not getting bogged down in the details. So it's that energetic work, that frequency work, to say, I'm raising my frequency by just enjoying the journey. I mean, it's that simple. And keeping in mind, like, how I want my life to look and what I want that to feel like. If you do those two things, just watch the magic happen.
I love it. I love it. That's beautiful. And yes, I'm a big fan of tarot. I love it. I love it. So I have my deck here because I'm like so into that too as well. All right. What about tip number 3?
Okay. Tip number 3 is kind of 2, but it's the same thing. Okay. And it goes back to what we were talking about just a little bit ago, but it's 2 things in the sense that there's not one right way. So I think that a lot of people look for one specific strategy to follow or one specific path to go down. And I know that I did that in the past. Like, I was like, well, just tell me what to do. Like, just tell me the exact things to do and I'll do it. But the problem with that is that just because it worked for one person doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So I think that understanding that there is so much just sort of like intuition that plays such a role in business, and understanding that there's not one right path, and allowing yourself, so this is the other one, to build and grow your self-esteem so that you can trust yourself to take those leaps or go a completely different direction than you see everybody else going. And that's why I say it's sort of two things, because I think that understanding that there's a lot of ways requires, in order to be able to go down a different path, it requires you to have a really high self-esteem or self-image in order to do something different. So that's my third one.
Yeah, I agree because in the cases where you're saying there's not one right path. So if you're going to build your own path because it's what fits for you, you do have to have the right type of esteem in order to forge ahead. It's really about being courageous, right? Enough to say, I'm going to stand my own ground, even if nobody else is doing what I'm doing, even if it seems kind of weird or whatever, outlandish. But that's the thing. It's like somebody is stepping forward and claiming their, what I call finding the white space, right? In the market where nobody else is doing what you're doing. So absolutely, that's so important.
And courage requires self-esteem.
Yes.
And I think that so many people come to business and they're not prepared for what all it brings up within them.
Yeah.
And then that's a thing that stops them from going forward, or from putting a new program out, or putting content out, and nobody's responding. Like, that requires you to have this like massive internal, confidence to go, I'll just do it anyway, even when it's not looking at all like things are going to really come together. Like, you have to be able to do that first and then watch things kind of fit together.
Which is why it's so essential to have coaching, to have somebody help you through that process, because to do it alone is just so difficult. We don't know our own blind spots, right? Like, so that's where it's priceless to have somebody guide you to shortcut the entire thing. So agree. Okay, so let me do a recap. So tip number one is the subconscious mind how much a subconscious mind plays as it relates to money and business, and how really that's the center of it all. Number two is keeping your North Star in mind. So what you want your life, your business to look like, and working from that place. And then number three, there's not one right path. And so it requires to build self-esteem in order for you to forge your own path. I hope I captured that correctly. Got
Perfect.
it? Good.
You
Awesome.
nailed.
Beautiful tips that somebody, I love this entire topic because it's the how do you even call it? It's the life philosophies. It's not so much a marketing tactic or a business tactic. It's the life philosophies that are going to help you in dramatic ways, so that when it comes to execution, which is where I see everybody focusing on, like, can you just tell me the thing that I have to do? And I'm like, it's not just the tactic, right? Everyone's so focused on these things. And I'm like, no, you need to bring it into what you're talking about, actually. So, so important and really rich. So make sure as you're watching this to take into account just how powerful, how impactful this all is, as you, the viewer, are putting all of these tips into your own business and life. Huge. So Sara, thank you so much. So tell the viewers how people can learn more about you and how you can help them, etc.
Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me to share. It's an honor. And you can find me on Instagram. That's still my platform of choice. Also on TikTok, but Instagram's where I'm gonna hang out the most. So at Sara Drury. That's what I was
Okay, at Sara Drury. And all the links for Sara will be below. I was just going to give you a shout out because I love your TikToks as well. And you inspired me to get on TikTok because I was going to start to run ads only. And I'm like, well, I have to show that I have some kind of presence. And so my social media coordinator, Charlotte's always like, can you just do more? Because people really connect. I'm like, but then when I saw you, I'm like, okay, I'm super inspired.
I love that. I was so excited.
Well, because I hear you say, like, as an introvert, the fact that you're putting yourself out there even more. I think I've gone more into ambivert land, like I'm both.
Yeah.
But I'm like, well, Sarah's doing it. I got to do it too. You know what I mean? So very inspired by the fact that you're on Instagram, on TikTok. So as much as I complain, I'm a Gen Xer. I know you're an elder millennial. So the generational thing, because I'm like, why am I so resistant? But yes, I just wanted to give you a shout out that you totally inspire me. And I am obsessed with your necklace. I just may go to your house and steal it.
Come on over.
So please connect with Sara Drury. You're going to find her links, her website, how to get in touch with her to add those elements of creating a magical life and business for yourself. So Sara, thank you so much for being on this virtual summit. So powerful, everything that you shared. I appreciate you and honor the work that you're doing in the world. Thank you.